to Souls on Tap. I'm Julianne Thon. Jennifer is not able to make it today. She had some weather issues that are causing her internet to not be able to be connected. So we will see her next time. But for today, I would like to welcome Marla Lindner, who is the founder of the Bufo Healing Sanctuary and author of Quantum Regenesis, Reclaim Your Power, and Embody Sovereign Leadership. Welcome, Marla.
Thank you, Julianne. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I've been really excited about this. I'm always excited about all of my shows, but you are really doing some amazing work right now, and you have so many gifts, and I'm excited to get into them. um, you got started many, many years ago on your journey. And I was wondering, before we actually talk about your healing sanctuary and certainly your book, could you share a little bit about your personal journey and what called you to work with the Bufo Healing Sanctuary?
Well, my journey is everybody has their own journey. And my discovery of healing was to go navigate deeper inward in trauma. I woke up in it was February of 2020. A year previously, I wanted to make some changes in my life. I just wasn't happy. And I
Was
was
this
making,
was this during the pandemic or just before?
I really woke up primarily right at that pivotal time during the pandemic, I call it. And so, yeah, but a year prior to that, something was off with me. I just wasn't happy, and I knew I needed to make a change. And that's when I had a rotator cuff surgery, and I knew I was drinking too much. I was drinking a lot of vodka and taking Benadryl so I could sleep. I couldn't sleep. And that was my way to kind of just relax and I never wanted to call myself an alcoholic because I wanted to be able to control it. When I look at hindsight 2020, yeah, drinking problem, and I couldn't admit it. And today just recently I feel like, yeah, I was dependent on it, but I wanted to not be. And so I was addicted to vodka, Benadryl to sleep, McDonald's, Coke Zero. Those were all my go-tos for stuffing emotions inward. And so when I woke up, and I'm also a gastric bypass fail. I had weight loss surgery years and years and years ago.
Wow, a fail. Gosh.
Yes, because I lost weight. I didn't get to the lowest weight. I just got at about 140, and I'm short. I'm just under 5 feet. So that's still heavy for my frame.
You're a little girl.
I'm a little teeny little mini pet.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was a fail. I gained the weight back. At my highest weight was 225 pounds. So then right when COVID happened, I had a health emergency. I had a bowel obstruction. So I took myself to the emergency room and I said, I'm not sick with that thing that's going on. But this is before mass. I said, there's something really going on. And my husband at the time was like, do you want help? Do you want me to come with him? I'm like, no, 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 I'm good. I just want to do this alone. And that's how I handle when I'm in pain. I like to be alone. And so there was a bowel obstruction and they rushed me to another hospital that could handle that kind of work. And it was scar tissue from the gastric bypass.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah, and I was also on antidepressants. I was on Lexapro. I started taking after my baby, and he was like, at the time it was 5 years ago, so he's 17. It's like still taking Lexapro. Why? So after that surgery, I got really sick. I ended up going cold turkey on Lexapro. I went off of that, and I ended up with candida, high level of yeast in my gut. I was really sick. And so coming off of cold turkey on Lexapro, having high levels of yeast, And nobody's around. No doctor could help, and no Western doctor would even navigate. They would take cultures and things, but I needed a different type of doctor, right? With homeopathic care. And so I showed my friend my tongue, and she's like, "You have thrush," and I'm like, What do I do?" She's like, you have candida." So I did a lot of research. I took charge of my own health. Is what happened, and I went on the candida diet, and I lost 65 pounds on my own. And then 3 months later, I did find a chiropractor to help me with um, the actual yeast. And so I had to go on a lot of supplements. We did muscle testing. I'm learning about energy. I started learning more about energy anyways because of waking up. It kind of goes hand in hand with navigating of what is really hidden from us, hidden knowledge from health. And so that took me into a whole different realm of waking up. Then I met someone who introduced me to pulsed electromagnetic field. And this is a device, a healing device, a medical healing device that's very expensive. My son had a lot of surgeries, and I'm like, I'm going on his knee, I'm going to purchase this device for my son. And primarily, he didn't want anything to do with it. So I laid on it daily, multiple times during the day, and I started getting activated.
What was it?
It's called pulsed electromagnetic field.
Okay, yeah, I'm aware of that. Okay,
And this
so
is by a company named Swiss Bionics. It's a big mat. It's expensive. I have a medical device. It's over $8,000. This
wow.
is something that would be, treatment in a chiropractic office or, a practitioner. I started working with energy at that point. I started waking up. Some gifts started to come through. Yeah. And so what happened was I started activating DNA codes, and I'm like, okay, the memories kicking in from past lives. And I started correlating my dreams with what was going on. Then I started getting into heavy metal detoxing and parasite cleanses. And that started to really waken me up when I started removing those things. I still was eating all organic. I don't use a microwave. I use steel. I got rid of plastics. Everything detox, everything. So even, and then I joined groups. I have friends that are in charge of these big Telegram. Have you heard of Telegram?
Yeah, and you need a group when you are cleansing to that extent, you need that support.
Yeah, I needed support. I was lucky because when I woke up, I was alone. And then I reached out, I found groups on Facebook, and these are my current friends, that I still keep in touch with. So after that, I started working on people, and because when you start healing yourself, you want to start working in this field. It just kind of goes side by side. And then that changed, and then psychedelic medicine started coming into my life, and that was that was a ticket for me. That was the big explosion of sacred medicine. And I have to back up. Also, I started learning about chelantic science, and that was a big spiritual awakening there. That was activating in itself, and it's where consciousness and science meet with light, sound, frequency, symbols, and codes that I work with.
Wow. So much there. So much.
Yeah.
Uh I'm excited. I have so many things that I wanted to ask you. So first of all, back up just a little bit. When you were going through your surgeries, and you had the obstructed bowel, was that a surgery also? Did they have to
Yeah.
go in and so did they remove did they remove tissue?
Yeah, they had to clean up. Well, they also did an ENG tube, and I didn't really know the extent of how dangerous the ENG tubes that go down into your stomach can go into your lungs. My dad ended up dying from an ENG tube misplacement. And so I didn't have that knowledge that how dangerous I was in, like, this was a dangerous situation. So they put me in a hospital, and I had the surgery. Oh, I went from one hospital to the next with a ambulance, and then they did the surgery the next day, and they removed scar tissue. And I'm hoping my lifestyle now will never would be like that. Because when you have gastric bypass surgery, you cannot eat certain foods. They affect you differently. Your absorption is very different. And so if I ate McDonald's all the time, my blood sugar would rise and fall, and then you'd eat more sugar to balance it out. And I threw up a lot. Food gets stuck, and so you do have to, make yourself throw up so you can get rid of the pain. You get flu-like symptoms too if you eat sugars and dairy. So I still, I had the Roux-en-Y, so they changed the dynamics of the stomach and the intestines. And so I still have that, but I don't have food that gets stuck anymore, and I eat clean. I'm all organic. I eat very clean. Food is just so I have sustenance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. It's
It's
to nourish you.
right. Yeah, I'm not a foodie.
So
Like I,
that's interesting. And the reason I asked about any additional surgeries is because so many times when we come to Earth, I believe that we come with a contract and that we want to experience all kinds of things. Yes, there's free will, and sometimes we experience things weren't necessarily planned, but I think the big things, like what you went through, probably were. And the appreciation of the human body, uh, to appreciate the human body from a 5D perspective is an interesting feat, and that's what a lot of us are trying to do. We're trying to respect this from a 5D perspective as opposed to 3D. And once we do that, what you have done, the way that you have healed is amazing. And I think it is the ultimate respect for this container that we chose to come in to this earth in. So that's amazing. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you is if we could get to where you began to see and feel codes. Who was sending them to you? What did they look like? And
Mhm.
how did you know what to do with them?
well, I have some clairs. You've heard of clairs,
Sure.
clairaudience.
I have a
Uh,
few.
yeah, yeah, I would think so with the
We all
word.
do.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's just activating. And I've had these for a long time. I can feel consciousness. And I can feel when consciousness is stuck within people. I can feel electromagnetic fields. And so I have some psychic ability. I can feel people who have passed. So
Did,
these
did that start then?
started a long time ago.
Oh, do you
I'm,
do you think
I'm,
that's one of the reasons that you drank and couldn't sleep?
I think it's a lot of things. I think it's a lot of mind control with electromagnetic fields, with heavy metals, parasites, shots, the food I was eating. It's my whole belief system, the whole container of everything of how I was raised and suppressing emotions. Go to your room when you're a child, and the pain and the trauma that I was holding within, and I was starting to heal. So things were coming up that when you start opening energy points, you start to connect energy chakras, inner chakras, and outer chakras into different dimensional frequency bands that are connected to scalar waves. And so I started getting activated through that. And I had that connection. I was born activated. I'm an indigo. I'm an indigo child. I don't know if you've heard of indigo children.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm an indigo. I was a child that just wanted to be free in nature and play with toads, and that's my medicine. So it's very fitting. I was in nature all the time as a child, growing up in Southern California, swimming and it was, but there was a lot of suppression. There was a lot of suppression, and I was heavily fluorided. My dad was a dentist, and he worked in a lot. We did fluoride treatments all the time.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that alone calcified my pineal gland.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we don't want to mess with our pineal gland.
Right. Yeah. And so I had a lot of mercury. I would
Mm.
work with my dad in his office. And so there was a lot of metals around the fluoride and just not being aware. Like I knew I was different. I did not like school. I wanted to be home. I went to a school where they hit me. So but this was my contract. This is what it was supposed to be. And so it is. And so it be.
So then at what point did you start recognizing codes for what they were?
So what happened when I started getting activated, I saw it in a dream. I saw symbols. I saw two circles and two pyramid, two triangles. And when I started learning chelantic signs, I was like, I just got chills actually. Whoa, those are star seeds. The sun is a star. We come from the sun. Natives believe this too. In that sun lineage, I was indigo 1, which was connected to a 48 Emerald Order sun lineage of genetic coding. We have different amount of dormant DNA coding that they call junk DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be the codes that get activated when you start to heal and open energy points. Well, they're really called crystal star seeds within our system that are shaped like bow ties with the center. And when it's like a Rubik's cube pops open, then you get a connection, So that was I was activating that through all my healing techniques. And so I saw this in a dimensional, it wasn't just two pyramids and two circles. It was like there was a dimension in this. And then I saw it in a book and I'm like, okay, I know where I come from. And that was confirmation. And I just know, you just have a knowing. I just know.
Right. And was this during a meditation you were doing or hypnosis or?
It was conscious dreaming. I was asleep when I saw the code.
Wow, that's great.
And
Do these codes typically lie dormant within us until we activate them or reawaken them?
correct.
So they are awake within us when we are first born, and little by little we close them down.
Correct. We're connected to, they take our soul print, the contracts. When we come in, we are energetically and emotionally connected to the grid system on our left side with these seals, these energetic seals. They're called Jehovian seals.
Mm-hmm.
And have you heard of the Jehovian seals before?
So I've heard of them. I couldn't tell you what it is. So for our viewers out there, it would be great if you could explain.
Sure. So this is connected to the fallen angelics, the Nephilim. And so when consciousness was made, there's a family lineage of the Jehovian or the Giovannis, and they were big consciousness. And I'm not talking a human. This is light form. This is energy. But this level of consciousness fell from the law of one. Law of one is very, very important. It's a oneness. I am you, you are me. We treat each other with love, kindness, and compassion. We are all sacred, and energy is sacred, and we follow the law of one. Their consciousness fell into heaviness because the ego is heavy. It fell into different realms, and as they fell, they became the carbon came. As you fall, you become a structure through different light bodies. The light body into plasma, and then crystal, and then carbon. There's different levels. We're going back up because of the ascension. But this is how the fallen angelics became. And this is long. Takes a long time for consciousness to fall, but it kept falling. And these seals were connected into a grid system in harmonic universe 2. Earth is harmonic universe 1, and each harmonic universe holds 3-dimensional frequency bands. Earth is dimension 1, 2, and 3, 3D. Tara or Terra, so they're names of these actual structures. Tara holds the frequency or dimension 4, 5, and 6, so 5D. Well, this is originally where, in my studies, we'll call it a belief system if you want to. We came from Terra, where Terranisms were the third seeding of this. There was an explosion in the crystal dyadic grid system. It's actually called the Nibirian crystal dyadic grid system. They call this the Big Bang.
Wow.
And a portion of Tara fell, and this became the Milky Way galaxy.
How are you spelling Tara? Is it Tara or Terra?
You could say either or, Tara. And this is all in my study. So I started waking up. This information activates you. And so what we came from really is the Akasha, the breath of God, the void. And when you're in sacred medicine, you can feel it. And so that's why I wanted to do sacred medicine. I wanted to see if my information that I learned was accurate. Like, because I want to see what it feels like to go into a different dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is how are in my studies in cheologic science, how the Milky Way galaxy became and how Earth and all the different structures were from the Big Bang, but it was energy force into this realm that exploded, and this diotic crystal grid system controls us on the left side with the seals, getting back to the seals. This holds the container of the victim, victimizer, rescuer programming that we are all in.
Wow.
And this is the book. In my book, I walk through these processes of how to release it. And you can do a Jehovah's seal removal through an ancient language called it's the Anuhasi. We're in Lionsgate portal. That's the
Mm-hmm.
Anuhasi.
Right.
The
Yeah.
first spoken language is the Anuhasi. It's
Mm-hmm.
fourth. They're the fourth dimensional frequency band. So the lion, the great white lion. They're also with the Emerald Order, with the Essenes, the original tribes of the Christ consciousness of the Christ avatar, which is a different realm.
So before, because I really want to have time for us to spend on the sanctuary, because that healing sanctuary just sounds amazing. But were you able, or are you in the process of validating and affirming your belief system?
In sacred medicine, and through mental telepathy, I get confirmation this is correct.
Good.
And it's a very serious thing. It's to it's high levels of spirituality that I hold. It's very, very sacred, to the level where I turn down people who want medicine that won't work on themselves, because it worked for me to activate. I know this works because I walked this path for healing. And I see it in the realms. I work
Mm-hmm.
in them.
And certainly in our work in hypnosis, we have to clarify with our clients that the first thing that has to take place is they have to heal themselves in order to begin healing others, particularly with those that are light workers that come to us, teachers, healers. And I have discovered that so much of that self-healing begins with forgiveness. And it sounds like you had to work on that too. I'm sure you were probably beating up on yourself for a while when you were just in that between stage where you were trying to figure everything out and you were like, why did I make these choices?
Yeah, I had a lot of rage. I
Mm-hmm.
was angry. I did some things that I held a lot of guilt, but there were reasons for it. And I had a big trigger that led me into forgiveness, and that was an embodiment. And I've never read the Bible before, and I woke up hearing a Bible. It was 43 Corinthians 43, and I'm like, okay, here I go Googling it. I have no idea what this
Wow.
means.
You
I've
heard
never
it,
read the
a
Bible.
voice through a voice. You heard this?
This is a
Wow.
mental telepathy. I can hear it. So, or I'm clairaudient. And so I Googled it, and it was 1543, and it was about life. I died and I came back. I had a rebirth and I felt it. I had just, I just went into two different medicines. There's medicines can have synergy. I had just done Wachuma, and then I did bufo, and I went for a bike ride afterwards, and a dog bit me, and I had three puncture wounds, and I didn't react. I just went back and told, told the man, your dog just bit me. I'm not going to report you, but I just would like you to be aware of what happened. And then that triggered me into some forgiveness because when I was 10 years old, I hit my puppy and I held a lot of guilt with that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing how those connections can often be made. And
For me because I
you
love animals so much. And I would not do that as an adult, but I was 10 years old. I did things at 10. I was angry at 10. Things were happening in my life, or I wouldn't be responding in that way or reacting.
right, right. So often at that age, and certainly throughout our teen years, we are very angry because we don't feel like we have control of anything. And we just feel like we are very much so the victim. Everything is happening to us,
Right.
which in itself is a process to
It
get
is.
through.
And in medicine, you see it differently. You eventually, how you forgive is that you see it that it was for you.
Mhm, exactly.
So
Exactly.
you can step into this fire, forgive yourself, start to fall in love with yourself and embody it. And that alone is activating too.
That's just that's just so amazing. Uh, let's let's get into what I'm really, really excited about. Let's get into now that you've talked to us about your healing journey. What made you start the Bufo Healing Ranch? I'm sorry, not Healing Ranch, it's Healing Sanctuary.
Right.
And I guess we ought to explain first of all, what is Bufo? Because when I first talked to you, I had I'd heard of frog chemicals, but I had not heard of Bufo. So
Yeah.
can you explain what that is?
Well, sure. So bufo is also known as 5-MeO-DMT, works with the serotonin receptors 1 and 2, primarily 1, where ego and unity is. And bufo comes from the bufo alvarez toad from the Sonoran Desert in Mexico. They primarily live underground most of their life, and they come out during the monsoon season to eat and mate. And this is when the glands by their ear, they would extract it. I've never done this before, which I do want. Later on, we'll talk about the structure of my organization. We want a bufo actual sanctuary to harvest our own medicine, but they push the gland in it, they put it on a slide and it dries, and that's the medicine. It has a lot of different alkaloids in it, but it's primarily the alkaloid 5-MeO-DMT, and you inhale it.
Okay, you inhale it. I was wondering how you administer it.
It's
Um, do you inhale it through the nasal passages, or does somebody blow it into your mouth?
No, I use a device. There's a couple different devices you can use. It's a pipe with a glass vial, and you weigh your medicine. You have to be conscious of what your measurements and whatnot. There's different measurements for a low dose, medium dose, and a higher dose. So so the medicine goes in a little glass vial, and it has threads, and you thread it into a pipe. I also have beakers, and that's more of a microdose thing because the beaker's a glass beaker, and then the medicine fills in there, and you can pass that around if you were to do microdosing with the retreat.
How do you harvest this
Well,
medicine?
the medicine, comes from the toad, from the gland on the side, and so these medicine men that have the sanctuaries. There's one sanctuary in Mexico, and I have multiple medicine sources I have. Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand. So
And
they literally catch them or they raise them.
well, in the sanctuary, they're there. They have them in a sanctuary. And then some people do go in the wild and do it. And you can see in the medicine if they've hurt the toad because you would see blood, and the blood is darker. The color of the medicine is more like a caramely kind of a color, and if there's blood, it's darker. So I know if you can injure them, but usually they just take the medicine and let them go. These are big toads. They're not like little, like our toads that we have here. These are fat ones. They're big.
So
And
I'm
look,
sure
it's a
that
high spirit. high spirit. It's the highest psychedelic medicine available. I always feel that if I get to know my medicine people, I get to know my medicine people, and
That's
I can
really
feel their
important.
energy.
And
Yes.
and do these shamans or these medicine people, do they, I'm sure they have a great deal of respect for these animals and show probably celebrations of gratitude for helping us to awaken. That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and you know, you have to be careful who you vet your medicine. You could be ripped off. And you know, this is why it's important to me to raise my own medicine. I've raised reptiles before with my son. I know, you know, a little bit about the topic, but my big dream is to have a brick and mortar sanctuary with my own toad sanctuary because I know how I treat people. I would treat the toads with organics, high frequency, real good soil, good bugs. You know, they eat a lot of bugs, crickets, dubia roaches, insects, you
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that container is down the road. It's gonna happen. My timeline's catching up. I know it is, or I wouldn't be thinking it and planning it. I have an investor land development plan on my website, so if people are interested in wanting to be part of this, and it's a big industry. There's a lot of financial big. It's big,
Yeah.
and with
It's
iboga and ibogaine becoming legal eventually, that will be the first, probably the first one is ibogaine.
so in terms of plant medicine, you offer that as well, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay,
So I
so
also, yeah,
could you talk a little bit about that too, please?
sure. I offer also a medicine called Wachuma, which is San Pedro, and the medicine is mescaline. And it's a grandfather medicine and it's a heart opener medicine. So people that have a hard time opening their heart with expression or if they've gone through deep loss and you know, just holding in all that emotion, it is such a beautiful medicine. I also offer a microdosing program with integration.
Mm,
I wanted, not to say that I hold it lock and key, but in order to respect the medicine and respect yourself, integration in a microdose program goes hand in hand
mhm,
because it's not just keep doing medicine. It's you have to work on yourself too. The medicine is a gateway, a portal to enter within your own self for inner healing. So I work with Wachuma, and then I also work with iboga, and that's so works with ibogaine. Ibogaine is in iboga. So I offer iboga and bufo. I have a protocol where I do both. And it's a 5-day private retreat. So it's your meals, your containers private, you get pulsed electromagnetic field. It's quiet, you need quietness, stillness. This medicine works on neurotransmitters, healing neurotransmitters, you know, that are
mhm.
connected to the chemicals in our body. So we really, this is a big medicine as well. I work with big medicines that are profound. I haven't worked with ayahuasca. I'm getting the pull. I do medicines when I'm called. And this
So
has been the order that I've been called in.
I'm glad that you brought up ayahuasca because for a while it was practically considered the God molecule. Now, things like bufo and other kinds of medicines are actually being called the molecule. And it seems that ayahuasca is taking a different turn and not necessarily for the better. I understand it that there's a lot of fakery going on with it. What's your feeling about the whole ayahuasca movement?
Yeah, I hear a lot of mixed things. I think you just need to do research and find a really good practitioner in shamanic medicine. And the man who introduced bufo to me, he has walked through this, so he's my go-to guy for referrals. And I will only use what he has. If I go off the beaten path, I will get ripped off or something will happen. I have a lot of medicine people contact me. I used to think, oh, you know, it's like, oh, it's a calling. They contacted me, but they need money too. And so you want to make sure you have a good practitioner. these people are trained years and years and generations.
Right.
They
Right.
know this medicine, they grew up with it, you know, and
Thousands of years. Yeah.
yeah, it's ancient. And so when we go into their circle, we're the guests. We have to respect their traditions, and you have to be ready for that. I hear people, you know, they see darkness, you know, that's duality. That everything happens the way it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, you don't want to be have, you know, violations, and this is where vetting comes in.
Mhm.
Have a recommendation.
So, kind of walk us through the best you can. A client comes to you and they know that they have a calling, there's something greater within them that they want to unlock. How do you determine what kind of medicine is best for them?
So first thing is a discovery call. I have stages and phases with everything. First is a discovery call. There's a lot of contraindications with medicines, with sacred medicines. You can't be on SSRIs or MAOIs, and you can't have, you know, heart. You have to watch out for the blood pressure, and certain medications just don't work with all these medicines, most medicines. So that's first things first is that I also look in their consciousness. How, where are they? Because if I'm serving a medicine, I don't want to shatter their consciousness. They're not ready if they're all over the place. They may need pre-integration, which I offer pre-integration. So that's preparation before medicine. And if they want to do medicine and they're on medications, they should have a discussion with their doctor, their practitioner, and how to, and they want to wean off, how to wean off. I'm not a doctor, I can't guide them. I
Mhm.
know things about wellness, but
Right.
it's a different, and I can't be held, I don't want to be held liable. That's big. So they would eventually, when they're ready, come back. I can do integration while they're weaning off though, because integration is important too, because you're coming out of a medicine, then you're going to need to change a lifestyle a little bit here before going into medicine. So once they're ready, then we do a preparation Zoom call and we go through. And this is for someone who's very much not aware of medicine. I have a slideshow presentation I would go through, and it's educational. And then, you know, they learn about the ceremony and how to prepare for it. There's a dieta, and that's part of the wellness as well. And intention setting, you know,
Right.
what's the reasoning why you want to do medicine, you
Very
know, and
important.
right. And we set intentions, and that also leads down the road with integration. Then we set, you know, then you would need to join the sanctuary. It's a membership. It's a legal structure for the container of the sacrament.
Mhm.
So you join, and that covers the sacrament. And then we would, you know, there's a lot of other things along the way too with preparation. Then we set the ceremony date, and you would come, and I would serve you medicine. It's not just one serving. When I'll ask if you want more, you'll know if you want more after you have a dose. And my role in this is that I keep a loving and safe container. I don't invade them unless they want me to do energy work if they feel stuck.
Mhm.
Then we're going into moving some energy, and I work with fire also. So we got sound and fire transmuting. Fire is a transmuter because energy cannot be destroyed. So we change it, transmute it, transduce it, alchemize it in
Um,
serum.
how about tobacco? I just know that that's a big thing, certainly in ayahuasca. The
Yeah.
people.
Tobacco is the first medicine. And so we use, in my ceremony, we use tobacco and we put it in our left hand because it's closest to the heart. And we set our prayers and intentions into the tobacco. And when people are ready, they release it into the fire and the smoke. And the tobacco brings it to the heavenly realms to answer their prayers and intentions. And that's how I use tobacco. And I use it in closing too. Everybody gets tobacco, and we give thanks. You know, there's a lot of gratitude in this.
That's so important.
Mm-hmm.
The gratitude and the humility. Um, I would think that a lot of people, if this is their calling throughout the experience, is that they experience a death of the ego and that has to be pushed aside. in order to begin the healing and the
Yeah.
self-forgiveness. Would you agree with that?
Yes, that is correct. You see that in medicine, it's an out-of-body experience. So you're getting pulled out of this matrix and you can see a different perspective. And it's more a feeling. You can see fractals and things, and if you have a blindfold, it's best, it's dark. You can feel it more, and you just feel this unity of we are all one, and it's just this beautiful synergy of God. And people see they feel their loved ones are there. They feel they're taken care of. They're on the right path, exactly what they're supposed to be doing. This ego dissolves so you can be guided. You're being guided through your whole entire existence. The ego gets in the way, the control gets in the way. And when that happens, we can't get through to you. Through spirit can't get through to you to guide you in your path. Letting go of this medicine helps dissolve that. But it can come back if you don't work on yourself. I see plenty of people in
Really?
it can come back. It's heavy.
So it taps you on
There,
the shoulder and says, "Excuse me, you're not doing what I came to you to do."
correct. And I'm reminded of it too, all the time.
Wow.
I let go, like, oh, you like living in fear. Okay, example. A lot of people have financial issues. You breathe and go, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. Am I supposed to be just listen? You have feel feel the pull where you're supposed to go. This is where people do feel, oh my goodness, I think I need to work in sacred medicine. There's a lot of healer. We're all healers. We're all healers. It just resonates at different ways. You're a healer. A golf teacher is a healer. They're teaching them a certain dynamic of form to create. When you move, it creates something. You're creating an energy field, and that's healing too. Any kind of movement is healing. And so letting go of control and just being able to know that you are guided, you just have to see the synchronicities.
That's big.
The synchronicities, the signs to give you reassurance.
So after the ceremony, um, how do you work with your clients so that they can continue to work on themselves so that they're not revisited necessarily?
Great question, Julianne. So integration is so important. First of all, what is your lifestyle? Where are you in wellness? What's the first thing you do when you wake up? What do you put your mind into? You grab your phone, jump out of bed, brush your teeth, take the dog out, make coffee. Where did you have room for appreciation?
Right.
Did you ground? So there's specific things we teach how to wait, because a lot of people who are in addiction they don't have a routine. It's where's my next fix? They're in pain, they're in suffering. This is why there's addiction. This addiction keeps them safe. Control keeps them safe. So we're going to do things different. And this is where you're going to lean into some discomfort. And this is why you need integration, because what you just went through, we're going to apply this now to your daily life. We're going to start to do things slow at a comfortable level. I check in. How you feeling? Did you have any dreams? Let's analyze your dreams. What did you see? Did you have synchronicities? What music aligns with you? Did something shift in you? It's all of that. It's fun. Integration should have a sense of fun, discovery, and joy. Not only leaning into discomfort, but it's all encompassing. It's journaling, it's art, it's expression, it's creation. We were born creators. Start to create music, go in nature, find quiet time, a sacred space to write your dreams down. If you don't like writing, just jot a few things down just to hold that, to talk about when we do integration. It's from, tell me about your childhood, tell me about your teenage years. Why did you join the military? What did you see in the military? Well, a lot of people had a lot of abuse. I was raped at 13, so that was a big discovery. And I put myself in therapy when I was about 18 because I wanted to have good relationships with men, and I mean, it goes deeper than that, but
Right.
my point is that you ask questions, you build up trust, and you keep a lot of love and non-judgmental. You just keep it really safe and you don't push your own belief systems onto them. They come from these belief systems already, and in sacred medicine that starts to dissolve. So we got to rebuild. What is your new belief system?
Right. There's a little bit of irony there. And again, letting go of that is also part of the ego's job as well. Do these ceremonies generally take place in with a lot of people in a circle, or do you do one-on-one?
So I primarily do private right now because of my location. I live in association here. But my neighbor offered land so I can do group ceremonies on their land. And so I feel really blessed that they offered that, a little bit of a land rental space. So part of my goal is either to rent a beautiful home the structure of that home, I have to have it a specific energy feel to it. And so I'm looking for a rental spot to host
So,
private and group ceremonies and retreats.
so
Either
you're in the process of, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're in the process of building the sanctuary then. Is that
I'm
correct?
looking for investors to help
Okay.
build the first phase is either build on buy land or buy an existing home, which I did find a home. It's a beautiful home. It's expensive home. And then we build around it. I have a computer image. I had someone create a CAD. So they put my ideas into an image. So I have that. It's fluid though. It's open for, negotiation and movement. But the whole sanctuary is big. It's camping coves, there's sweat lodge, a Temescal, the ceremony spaces, there are different pools, there's energy, there's concert venues for yoga and different music venues. And then we have the Ibogaine suites too for Ibogaine. And it's also facilitator training. That's going to start to teach sacred medicine training because these protocols between these phases that I actively do now, they need to be taught because through my own experience in sacred medicine facilitating training, there was a lot of components missing. I'm very grateful for my training because now I can apply it to how I see it in a sacred structure, a safe structure to be able to train other facilitators along with microdosing. Microdosing is important, which also, again, like I said, comes with integration. And my integration coaching I just completed, and so I would refer people to this Being True to You for coaching. It was a fantastic program, fantastic, and it helped me heal and lean into a lot of discomfort to embody what I needed to move up into the next quantum jump. I call it a quantum jump because that's literally what you're doing.
Right. And so what is your goal as to when the sanctuary will be opened? Setting the attention, right?
Oh, I've been doing it. I manifest. I'm talking to people. I'm
Good.
looking for specific types of people where we can work really well with flowing and openness. And these are your people that you're going to be working with. I want a good working relationship and the vision, a group visionary. It's not just for me, it's ours. It could be a membership where people can come like a health club. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's very, very, very expansive in wellness too. So what really needs to happen, the first phase is to find a home where I can actually start.
Sure.
I need to expand where I'm located. It's very secluded. I live in a forest area. It's a private lake community in the middle of the forest. It was beautiful for healing, beautiful for just being still, but it's limiting in expansion, so I need a location.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
so
and
I
and
need.
you're hoping your location will be in Texas, is that right?
I live in Texas. I'm currently in Florida. I have some things happening here that are really, really beautiful. And so we'll see what happens. I was called to come here and I just listen. It's hard for me to leave the forest. That's my healing area. There's portals there. The forest at Sam Houston National Forest, they have Bigfoot sightings. I know there's portals there.
Right.
And
Oh, yeah.
so, yeah, so it's
'Cause-
important for me to have my main sanctuary at this location.
yeah.
But I'm getting coast to coast. We're talking Mexico, LA, Texas, and Florida. So there's this whole line of areas that I'm like, okay, there's something here that I'm getting pulled into that we need to start building some locations. This is a 4 to 8. I mean, it can expand even beyond that. But right now it's $4 to $6 billion industry. This is a Ibogaine. Texas received $50 million in research for Ibogaine.
Good.
And so my friend who got me into sacred medicine and coaching, integration coaching, works at one of the clinics at Beyond. And I know people that are connected to Beyond too. So this Beyond is getting really pulled. And Ibogaine is hands down the most amazing medicine for addiction and PTSD and traumatic brain injury. But I tested it out with iboga, and that's how I started the iboga retreats, because I'm very right-brained and I needed a balance with the left. My memory has shifted since this medicine. A lot has shifted.
So, for those who are interested in this kind of healing, and why I recommend that everybody and anybody go to your website and check it out, does it explain what retreats are available and what happens during a retreat, etc.? And then if somebody just wants to sign up for some medicinal support, they could do that as well on your
You mean
website.
with microdosing?
Uh-huh.
That what you're doing? Yeah, so if you go onto my website, you'll see the different retreats that we offer, and they're expansive, and it's geared for leaders, people who are energy workers, guides, and seekers too. But it's veterans, it's everybody. We support veterans. I have a fundraiser going for veterans. We give away one ceremony a month for veterans, a bufo private ceremony. But once we expand into bigger groups, we can keep bringing in more and more and more. This is just the beginning. But if you go to the website, yes. But the microdosing program, you still have to go through a discovery call. And there's iboga microdosing too, but you wouldn't have access to that unless you did the retreat.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
And
because
your
it's
your
medicine.
your website explains that in general then.
It does. It has primarily the information they would need. I don't give everything. You can't, that's
No, well, because so
right.
much of it has to be tailored to the client. Eh,
It is very much custom. It is. You're right. Absolutely, Julianne. It is tailored to that person a lot
eh,
of times.
and I just have to add, when people hear the word addiction, they often think of drugs and alcohol. I urge people who are ready to go inward to be ready to address all the other addictions that we have created for our life pattern. There are so many of them. Our phones, our computers, social media, politics, um,
Pornography.
absolutely. Fear.
It's behavioral.
It is a thing that people become addicted to, living a life of fear. So when uh Marla talked about, I want everybody who's listening to understand this, when Marla is talking about addiction and the tailoring that has to happen within the individual, that's exactly what she's offering, because not one journey is alike. You may find synchronicities, but we've all, as individual spirits, decided to come here for our own agenda and our own reasons. So I really want everybody to go to her website, and I'll ask you about your website uh, towards the end. I was wondering if we could take some time to go over your book. You referred to it a little bit, but so it sounds like it's almost a handbook to the experiences you can have through the healing that the sanctuary offers.
Yeah, it's a workbook. Some people don't know. They never even knew about trauma and about fight, flight, freeze, fawn. It's to teach people about what is going on when they're having a reactionary, like a fit. What is happening to me? Because it's a whole chemistry. And then it goes into mind looping and shame. It's how to lean into discomfort with grace and ease and to stop the mind looping, because mind looping causes soul fragmentation. And when you
Mm,
create soul fragmentation, you're creating karma. And it always comes back. It's always, if you don't fix it, it's going to come back in a different form. So this book is a workbook. Not only is it a workbook, it's teaching you about Christ consciousness and Mother Sophia, and that we embody these divine masculine, divine feminine in balance. We're off balance. We're completely off balance. And all the belief systems of religion, indoctrination in schools, in medical, everything creates imbalance. And how do we come back to self? How do we build all those fragments? How do we heal all those fragments and come back into wholeness in divine masculine, divine feminine, embodied in spirit?
mhm.
And then there's 12 embodiments to walk through. And this container is very, very big and very deep. And it's only a portion of it in the book. And it's how to release the victim victimizer program and rescuer program, because we've all played all these programs, the rescuer, they want to be, they overgive.
Mhm,
They take, I'll take care of you. They want to heal. We, enable them because you want to feel love.
mhm.
You don't want to be abandoned. And that's what I was. But I've been also a victimizer too, the controller, to feel safe.
Yeah, I have experienced through some of my clients, and I have actually seen in observing hypnosis sessions individuals who were at times, sadly, raped in this lifetime, only to discover in a prior lifetime they were the rapist. So that balance in karma.
Mhm.
So I do the same thing that you do. When I hear a truthism, I immediately get goosebumps all over. I can see you getting goosebumps. But I think, the first time that happened to me, I say me because I was trying to facilitate and I had not had that particular switch happen. It just opened everything up in terms of the importance of balance and self-forgiveness, you know?
Yeah, because you want to love yourself. You want to be kind and speak nice things, because we can manifest. And if you're speaking bad things to yourself, you're not here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing here. And we were born here as creators. We are here to create. We're master manifestors. You just need to bring up your frequency and do some releasing some energy so you can get some light coming through to activate and get a higher frequency. I use frequency more than vibration. Vibration and frequency is very different. So in the book,
So what,
going
back up just a second. What is the difference between vibration and frequency? Don't
frequency,
don't you vibrate at a particular frequency? Or do I have that wrong?
you can also oscillate.
Uh,
And so this also goes with parallel earth. This is part of my studies, and it goes really deep. So it's so hard to the feminine is the the women, femininity vibrates, masculine oscillates.
Okay. So explain
Because
the
because in creation, and this is my teachings, so it's my belief structure, in the void, the breath of God, there is something called particles or partikai. And partikai is a smallest unit of consciousness. And then what happened was it broke off into subparticles, the masculine and the feminine, the vibration, the oscillation. And this comes together. This is how the best way I can describe it. It creates a force, a scalar wave, and it creates this carpet of light. And these lights start to blink on and off. Okay. And this is called um uh um it's I lost the term of it, but it creates this electromagnetic field and it creates lights. It creates these crystal Kelon codes. We're made of this. This is consciousness. This is how consciousness is formed. The carpet, I wish I could remember it because I talk about it all the time, but of course right now I forget. All my friends are like, yeah, you always talk about partikai and it's partika and particum. Particum is feminine, partica is masculine. And then one went to parallel earth, which is masculine. Parallel earth is masculine. Mother Gaia earth is feminine. These connect at timeline vectors. Okay. Those timelines are called Yuago cycles. We have different cycles. Ascension is a cycle. It happens every 26,556 years. It spins faster at parallel Earth. So when you connect into parallel Earth, you can manifest quicker. So when you are manifesting, when you are thinking positive, your frequency creates a stronger frequency that pulls in vibration.
okay. Okay. Wow, well explained.
It's in a container called a morphogenetic field, which holds your DNA coding. This is how we get pulled into grid systems and into parallel Earth. We are in that container of a morphogenetic.
So you want then that magnetic resonance that is within us, you want that to be resonating at a particular level where you can attract what is best for the spirit or the soul. Did I have that correct?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the embodiment of the spirit, because when you have a balance, when you are balanced in divine feminine masculine, your frequency is really high. When you activate dormant DNA codes, your frequency, like I vibrate people, and I hear this with other people that they can lay in bed and your frequency is just, and we're getting light coded from the Schumann resonance too. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a lot of energy coming in to activate us. So this also goes into twin flames. We have multiple twin flames. It's not just one, and they're at different timelines of our parallel selves. And this is where you talked about being the victim. You were the victim and the victimizer. You play these roles because of parallel. It's like upside down. We have two, one of the same. We have this energetic structure in our body called the Cathara grid. And within this Cathara grid is energy points, which are chakras, inner and outer holds, and they're connected to the morphogenetic field. These are connected to planetary systems in our consciousness mind that we go into. And this is where people are like, I've gone to different planets. I'm from Atlantis. I've been, and they're all alive still in these forms and in our earth too.
Mm-hmm.
They all followed the law of one until Atlantis fell and they went in earth, like Mu and different lineages. There's a lot of different lineages. And of course, in my structure, and this causes a ruckus with this belief what I've studied is Metatron. Metatron was a fallen angelic, and Metatronics is the control system in the Nibirian dyadic crystal grid system that controls us with our mind control. That's the fallen angelic.
Which is a whole nother hour's conversation.
I know. So there's a lot of that. There's a little bit of this in my book, a little bit. I have to be careful because of copyrights, but I honor, the woman who brought this information. Her name's Eshiana Dean, and she was a contact data by a very young age, and she has lots of free books. This information is free. Tons and tons of books to educate yourself. It's intense information. It's very intense.
It is, and it's to be taken for some of us in small doses.
Yes.
Because you have to give yourself the grace to understand that this information has to meet you as a student where you are. And then the more information that you gather, the higher you will ascend and ready for the next layer.
Right.
So wow, what a fascinating, fascinating individual you are. Really, I'm so excited for this sanctuary to get up and going. In the meantime, for those of you who are watching, please, please, please go to Marla's website. And I will put that information down below in the description box so you will know where to go to set up and talk to her about healing possibilities because this is all a part of the ascension from 3D to 5D. There is a reason that Marla is here on Souls on Tap today. There's a reason that we are trying to fall out from Mount Olympus.
I remember the name of this. It's particle phasing.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I have no idea. Yeah. I'd have to go back to the whole particle versus particle, but
yeah.
All right,
topic.
But we could just go on. I hope that you'll come back, and then Jennifer will be with us because I know she had a lot of questions that she wanted to ask too. But what a beautiful soul you are. And thank you for explaining to a layperson as gently and as patiently as you did. I really appreciate that.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. It's been a real honor to be on your show. And you asked beautiful questions, really very inquisitive and very deep, smart questions, Juliana. Thank you for being here and helping others too. You're doing good work.
That's really very, very dear of you to say that, because that is exactly what we are trying to do here at Souls on Tap. Is we're just trying to get the word out that there's a whole different way of thinking now, that in our ascension, we have a plethora of ways that we can heal ourselves and therefore heal others. So that said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Souls on Tap. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you will never miss a drop of wisdom. We'd love for you to share any thoughts that you have and add any type of healing modalities that you'd like for us to showcase. Because remember, we are here for you. So until next time, stay curious and stay connected. And we'll see you on Souls on Tap.